Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Broken Berean. And after a long Saturday, perusing through all the different news articles and stuff that I've got flagged, this is one I did not expect to see. And this is a couple days old, and I'm surprised I didn't catch it or see it. But apparently, Chick-fil-A is getting ready to launch a streaming service. There's a lot to unpack in that sentence alone. Okay. So let's get started, shall we? What does this mean overall? Is Chick-fil-A getting into the streaming service? Do they want to be like one of the big boys like Netflix and things like that? I don't think so. That's not their primary function. Their primary source of income is their restaurant service. They do have other child-friendly apps, family-friendly apps that they've made over the years with different companies that they've produced and put out. And so this isn't something completely outside of the norm for other companies. We've seen Apple do this, but Apple's a technology company and they had a lot of disposable income that they could pump into it. Chick-fil-A has a lot of disposable income they can pump into it. Now, Apple TV is not a rival to Netflix or Disney or any of the other big ones. And honestly, I've always kind of assumed we're going to get three or four big streaming services, which looks like it's going to be a conglomerate of like Disney, Netflix, and another conglomerate of other services like WB and all that underneath WB, all those Paramount and all that, and so there'll be that kind of thing, and it's all going to fold in, and then you're going to have niche streaming services. One of the ones that I do subscribe to is called Curiosity Stream, and the reason that is a niche market for documentaries, and it's not like mainstream documentaries. These are for smaller documentarians and things like that that are making documentaries on a wide variety of subjects, but the cost is $40 a year versus some of these streaming services are 25 to $30 a month. So I like having that one to be like, you know what? I don't want to be entertained. I just want to sit down, cleanse my mind of what's going on, and focus on learning something. And that's cheap. So this is what I envision Chick-fil-A doing. And they're going to have this family-friendly streaming service is what the article kind of points to, what they talk about. They've already got some producers like Brian Gibson, who's done like Dancing with the Stars and things like that, on board to help produce original content for the streaming service, but they're also looking to licensing other content. And you're like, well, how many people are really going to be in for this? And that's a good question. And that's something we can't really gauge at this point. I really don't know. But I do have lots of friends that have much younger children than I do. I've got teenagers, and I've got friends that have very young children under the age of 8. Some that are like not even watching content because they've got brand new babies, and they've watched some of their kids watch some of their shows on like Disney and Netflix that they thought were very wholesome and starting to spout ideology and things that they did not agree with and canceled their subscriptions because they didn't want their children to be influenced by these shows. And as a responsible parent, that's their choice. And I respect that choice. If you're watching a show thinking it's safe for kids and you realize it's not really safe for kids, you take it away from the child. You protect the child's brain, their mind, and who they are as a child. And that's good parenting. So with something like this is going to be geared towards parents, and it's not like streaming services like this don't exist. There's a few out there, like Angel Studios has one. There's a couple others that I forget the name of, and they're out there. And honestly, they're doing okay because their budget is small, their income is small. As far as it goes on paper, they're successful. They make money. They continue to do their thing. They're not huge studios like that are pumping out the stuff that everyone across the world wants to see. And that's what Chick-fil-A's got to be. That's what they got to focus on. They need to focus not on trying to outdo Netflix because it'll never happen. It just won't. You're not going to get that many people. And the other problem that they have that they're going to have to work with is, and I hate to admit this, but it's true. About 80% of all Christian content is poor. I mean, poor in execution, poor in acting. It just, a lot of them feel like student films from college. Like, you're like, oh, this is supposed to be good. And all. It's like, oh, some of them are actually cringe, but some of them are stellar and amazing. 20% are great, but there's a lot out there that is just like, wow, yeah, can we not put that out? Like, can we pretend that didn't exist? There's great stuff out there, and there's great content out there that is Christian, family friendly. There's a lot of these studios that just go too overprotective and low budget, and what we get is bad. And that's, I think, that is what I think personally is going to be the biggest hurdle for Chick-fil-A, doing a family streaming service that is most obviously going to be Christian based. And you got to make good content or people are going to leave. And I mean, seriously, I can still sing 4 or 5 VeggieTale songs off the top of my head. Somewhere I have the Jonah movie somewhere on DVD, somewhere the VeggieTales Jonah movie and the Pirates Who Don't Do Anything. I mean, that was good Christian content. Then you have like Bible Man. It's uh, it's funny, it's good, it's age appropriate, but if you're an adult, it's watching it, it is cringe as all get out. Don't get me wrong, it's nothing bad with it. It's just, yeah, and that's just the way it is. And so, with a lot of this content and more now, we're getting more people that have decided that more Christians and more people in this area that want to make this stuff are learning and becoming better. More actors are decided, I'm going to have, if I go the Hollywood route, I'm going to end up having to make compromises I don't want to make. So they kind of veer off and do other things. And I mean, you get actors that do great content that were in Hollywood that are no longer in Hollywood, like Kevin Sorbo. Uh, he does a lot of the independent Christian movies, and his acting is still good. His acting is very good, and there's just a lot of this thing. There's when it comes to Christian content, it's not that I don't like Christian content. I'm a Christian. I love Christian content, but compared to mainstream content, we're about 2 decades behind in having people with the experience to produce excellent content. I think that has changed rapidly in the last 10 years. And so I think that's the biggest hurdle, but I think it's not as big as a hurdle as I would have expected it if Chick-fil-A announced this pre-pandemic. So I really do think this is going to be interesting. And I don't know what's going to come about, and however it comes out, it's going to be something different. It's going to be unique, it's going to be niche, and that is what it is. It's not going to be some powerhouse of streaming content. It's going to be designed for a specific audience, kind of like Daily Wire. Uh, I know it exists. Never watched anything on it. That's specific to a certain audience, and if they make money off of it and maintain it, great. But then you've got, like we've seen so many of these other companies that did great, and they're having to pull together to join together and band together and do group things. And if it gets to the point where Chick-fil-A gets to that point where it for its streaming service to survive, it's going to have to join up with others. My thought is if it does go just doesn't work and they're like, okay, we're going to join with some other streaming service, I think the best thing to do would just to be to shutter it and license whatever original content is to another streaming service and make money that way. I think as a brand that would be better off for them to do it that way. But this is just me thinking out loud, thinking off the top of my head, going through all kind of what does this mean? Who knows what it means? But I do think that this may do okay. And it's going to appeal to the market it's going to appeal to, and that's going to be it. And it may get more people that are younger couples that have younger children that decide, you know what, we don't want them accidentally clicking on our profile and watching this show or this show, and we can just have this service that they can watch, and we can feel safe that whatever content they consume is going to be age appropriate and topic appropriate for our children of that age. And I think that's what their kind of goal is here. Will it be successful? Will it not? We'll just have to see. But it is interesting. Of all the things I thought about this week, Chick-fil-A starting a streaming service wouldn't have made the top 1,000. But here we are. So, I mean, hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. We'll just have to see. Just kind of keep an eye on what's going on. And the more I'm intrigued by what actually is going to be produced. So I'll keep you guys updated when we get more information. But please, thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe. I'm just trying to share my thoughts with those that want to hear them. And as always, my friends, I love you all, and there's nothing you can do about it.